See, the way that you're talking about, thinking about everything like in the military, from military position or viewpoint.
Yeah.
The way I grew up, that was like never, ever, ever brought up. It was very religious. You just do this, 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 and that's how you don't touch the devil. He doesn't touch you. You know, it's so different. And so after having fallen away for the 18 years that I was in the drug world, and then coming back into this, it's like I'm relearning everything from scratch from what I was taught, you know, as a child. And so it's taking some time to like even get over those religious things that have already been instilled from before. So it's actually it's pretty cool. It's very different, but yeah.
I mean, the same with me. I grew up in the church just like you did, you know, and yeah, it was pretty much that. You just follow these rules. You go to church, sing the right songs, don't wear these kind of clothes, don't go to those kind of places, and you're good.
And if you cried really hard, means that you are
very spiritual.
Very spiritual. And if you don't, then you're just cold, you know, and it's just all played off of emotions. We grew up in a Pentecostal
church, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just lost altogether because you don't shed a tear almost ever.
Yeah, I do. What are you talking about?
Happy face.
I've actually seen him cry a time or two here at the church.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare, though.
But it is.
But pretty much like if you cry, exactly.
Or pray really loud and
or pray really loud. Like
yes.
if you're screaming, whoa, look at that spiritual person.
Yeah.
My ears are ringing. They're like super spiritual.
They're cutting through the noise.
Yeah.
Now see, and see, here's the thing though. So like, this is where I'm a little sensitive at, because like comments like that'll be made and you guys will be joking and stuff. But when I pray, and it's not to get attention or whatever, it's just like when I pray and I get in and I'm in that presence and I get, and let me finish. I can already hear her revving up over there.
Gen X is like
right. So she's not listening. She's not listening to hear. But anyways, but when I'm in the presence, whenever I pray and I close my eyes, I literally envision myself before God. And so when I get into prayer and I'm really praying, and I may get loud, but it's not for that. So like, so I will hear little comments and stuff like that. And so it will, but I'm trying to retrain myself. It does affect how I do, because then I begin to wonder, well, is that
what affects? Like how others are praying or how you're?
No, how I'm praying. Like your comment about the louder you pray.
If you're doing it genuinely, I'm all for it.
No, I understand, Pastor, but I'm just trying to explain from a different, from someone who wasn't raised in the church, from a different perspective, you know, because you guys have been in church for a long time. So when I hear a comment like that, then what that does for me is when I do start to pray, if I'm not in the right spirit, if I'm not physically in the presence, if I don't see myself in the presence of God, then I begin to hear that, and then I begin to wonder.
You get self-conscious.
Right, right. Is that other people's opinion?
Well, can I paint a little picture for you? Sorry, Anna.
It's okay.
So this is the kind of maybe for you or for whoever else is actually listening.
Baby, you gotta.
How we grew up is
a podcast.
I don't know if Mary Sue, if you were at our church during that time, but basically what would happen is everybody would get up and everybody's praying over each other. The whole room is loud. Everybody's in tongues. People just get really loud one over the other the entire service. And then whoever's the loudest or just keeps going, that's who's seen as the spiritual one.
The winner.
You know?
Spiritual.
Yeah, or whoever's really like crying. If you're not crying, or if you're just standing there not praying and being participating in the whole crowd praying, then
it must mean you're not spiritual.
Yeah,
right.
You know, so for us, that's what we saw, but when we're explaining it, it might sound like,
and I get that, but here's the thing is like, you know, like I'm getting ready to be 59. I've only been in the church like 2 years. I'm like a half a year behind my sister here, you know, so I've got 57 years of things that are not broken. And so just because I see differently and because this is a different place doesn't change 57 years.
Yeah.
Of foundation. So that foundation, little by little, has been coming down and has had to be tore down so that it can be reestablished properly.
Yeah. Okay, so when my thing is, the reason I even say this is that I'm not saying that crying is wrong, that if you're not emotional, that you're not, that it's wrong or what. Okay, if it's whatever's going on in your heart, you pray that way. But some people think that because you're not like screaming and like gasping for air, crying so hard that if you're not really crying, that God doesn't hear you, you know,
No, I
like, and
understand
that's a total lie, you know. I mean, we don't have to get so emotional to where every time, I mean, God knows,
And not
but there
everyone
are,
is that way.
yes,
No. And some
but
people,
there's
and some
plenty
people,
times when I'm just like bawling my eyes out.
right.
I mean,
no, and
it
there
just
are some people
depends.
that it is about show. I get that.
Yeah.
And also to speak to you, I have never seen you in that way ever.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
And a lot of the times, guys, this is our lovely intercessor. So a lot of the times when you're praying, you can also feel the spirit move. So you can, as you are getting more filled, we can feel like it's confirmed, you know.
It's more authoritative.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess.
confirmed. And that's the amazing thing when the spirit is moving, people who are like on guard or in the right place.
You don't
with
need
the
to
Lord,
compensate with a show.
you
Right.
know it. It's
Right.
like you were saying, you know it. You know? So if somebody is thinking that, they are not in their correct place.
Right.
Yeah.
And really, that's where it got me the the compensation. You know what I mean? But I do recognize that sometimes you have, like, for instance, I don't always feel like to raise my hands when I'm worshiping.
Well, yeah,
You know,
if you've had a bad day
If
or
you've
just
had a bad day, but sometimes it takes you getting over your
feelings.
whatever it is that you're feeling, and make yourself raise your hands.
Well,
make
see-
yourself get louder.
Well, see, and I look at raising my hands a little differently, because there are times I don't feel like it, but when I get there and I do go into praise and worship, I will usually do a couple of things. If I need to be refreshed, or if I need the presence of God, I will usually put my hands like this,
Like
and
you're
I
receiving.
will see myself before God, and I will see Him pouring down from heaven His oil on me, because I'm opening my hands, because I'm telling Him that I need that.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
receiving.
feel I don't feel like worshiping. I don't feel like praising. I don't feel like singing. But right now, I need You. And then there's other times when I simply want to praise Him and worship Him. Then I turn my hands, because then it's about Him. That's what I do, because when I don't feel like it, I need You to help me feel like it, because You're worthy enough to be praised, because I know who I am, and I know who I used to be. So I need You to fill me to a point that I can praise and worship You. And so I may start off with my hands like this, because I need to receive. But once I have received and I'm there, then most of the time I will turn my hands. And I actually, a lot of times when I'm praising, it's weird, because I have this, like this blanket on my wall, and it's got like a female soldier kneeling. And usually, for whatever reason, when I really go into praise and worship, once I have received what I need to receive, and I turn and it's about Him, I literally envision myself on my knees in armor before Him, praising Him and acknowledging who He is. So I look at raising my hands a little differently.
I think body language has a lot to do with how you pray. Like, if like this, you're humbling yourself. If you're like this, you're receiving. This is giving. Just different. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I find that too. Sometimes I will be like, my head will be down, and sometimes all I can do is look up.
Yes,
like I don't
yes,
want to. And
yes.
it's different. It's not. It doesn't always correlate with how I'm feeling. Sometimes I just want to have my eyes up, even though I'm feeling down. You know, so I found that like even the praising on Sunday is different each time. However the Lord leads, you know. Yeah.